Assalamualaikum, hello and greetings from the group Budapest. Hope you guys are doing great. Do you guys ever heard of Greta Thunberg? A girl who started a climate strike alone with a banner in front of the parliament? A girl who gives up her school time to go out protest against the austerity towards the climate change? Was that familiar? So, we're going to dig in behind the story of Greta Thunberg, an icon, a role model. Why is it so meaningful to the world? What's the inspiration? So, let's go.
So who is Greta Thunberg? She's a Swedish environmental activist born on 3rd January 2003 in Stockholm. She comes from a long-run theatre enthusiast family. Her mother, father and her sister are all theatre performers. But although the Thunberg family is known for its theatre, they, like Greta, are concerned about the environment. Once she started hearing about the climate change and couldn't stop thinking about it, resulting her to suffer depression when she was only 8. She was eventually diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That was where her interest in climate change issues began.
The next one is career path. Before Thunberg started her career as activist, she won the competition of climate change essay and her article was published in the newspaper which made people contact her regarding climate change. Then, she became an international climate activist, started with the school climate strike and public speeches. She went to do the strike by herself and protested by sitting outside the Riksdag, which is the parliament, every day during school hours for 3 weeks by holding the sign "School Strike for Climate." And then, she started to involve herself in solo protests around Europe by giving few public speeches. Her activism has encouraged huge number of students worldwide to participate in student strike. It is almost 20,000 students staged a strike within 270 cities in that month. She made the largest climate strike in her history by giving a speech to a total of 250,000 people in New York. Later then, she has become the most engaging voice on the urgent topic relating to planet. For instance, she urged German company Siemens to continue supplying railway equipment to Australia, which is owned by a subsidiary of Indian company. Furthermore, she went to the World Economic Forum in Davos, which is a town located in Switzerland, and gave speeches as well as took part in panel discussion. Due to COVID-19 has disturbed her activism, she started to use social media to spread the awareness and started the hashtag which trending worldwide, which is Climate Strike Online. In 20 August 2020, Thunberg with her climate activists hand over an open letter which was signed through online by 125,000 people, including those NGOs, academic intellectuals, artists, which demanding action on fuel subsidy and so on. Okay, now we are in the final point of career path. In 2021, Thunberg protested outside of Standard Chartered Bank London because she won the bank's support for fossil fuel extraction. Moreover, on November 2021, Thunberg and other climate activists have started a petition asking the United Nations to declare a Level 3 global climate emergency, which will result in the formation of specialist team to coordinate worldwide responses to climate-related concerns. Thank you, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Now we move to the icons timeline. In 2010, Thunberg was a pupil at Franska Skolan. Thunberg first learned about the climate crisis when she was 8 years old. She read everything about the mounting climate emergency that she could find. In 2014, she had been depressed for 3 to 4 years before going on strike. Greta stopped talking and attending school due to her depression. Her parents felt worried and sad because Greta refused to eat for about 3 months. In order to encourage and support Greta to recover, Mr. Thunberg and Greta's younger sister, Beata, spent a lot of time together with Greta at home in Sweden. In 2015, she diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is now considered as Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD. People with Asperger's syndrome tend to focus deeply on one idea or interest, and in Thunberg's case, she became focused on climate change. In 2018, Thunberg was transferred to school in Kringla-Skolan. Halfway across the world, during her early teen years, Thunberg got involved with local protests and climate organizations, and she was inspired. A few months later, Greta staged her first school strike. In 2019, she completed the 9th grade in the lower secondary education with a good result, which is 14 A's and 3 B's in 3 subjects: Swedish, home economics, and physical education. On 17th of April 2021, James Shea uploaded 2 images of Thunberg and mocking her with the caption, "How dare you?" In the comment section, people mentioned that perhaps her appearance in the photo was much more overweight than she was previously. The fact check lab in Hong Kong, on the other hand, confirmed that those two images were photoshopped.
So guys, what is the personality of the icons? So Greta Thunberg is a brave person. As we know, Greta Thunberg is a teenage climate activist. She sailed across the Atlantic Oceans. She even had to travel from 14 August to 28 August in 2018 to reach to New York City to raise awareness to save the planet. She traveled around 4,800 km, which is 3,000 miles to arrive at New York City, and it took 15 days to arrive. She is just 16 years old, but she already has the patience to be brave enough to travel using a boat. Next, during her interview, Greta Thunberg delivered an emotional speech at the United Nations, accusing the world leader of stealing her dream and her childhood with their inaction of the climate change. Secondly, Greta Thunberg is a kind-hearted person. Greta is donating her prize money, a total of 200,000 to UNICEF, an organization that serves children and defend their rights. The money will be used in UNICEF emergency program in order to prevent COVID-19, including preventive measures such as masks, gloves, sanitizer, personal protective equipment, and other support to healthcare organizations. Her organization donate 100,000 euro to encourage more equitable global COVID-19 vaccine distribution, particularly in low-income countries, to assist low-income people in receiving vaccines. This shows that Greta Thunberg is a kind-hearted person and not selfish, and always concerned about others people's health. Lastly, Greta Thunberg is a confident person. In 2019, Greta Thunberg attended the Global Week for the Future from September 20 to September 27. A series of international climate strikes and protests took place to demand an actions on climate change. Protests were held in 4,500 places across 150 nations. Almost 7.6 million people took part in the events. The September 20 protests were by far the world's largest ever climate strikes. Greta Thunberg gave a speech to a crowd of 250,000 people somewhere in New York during the strike. This shows that Greta Thunberg is a confident person to talk in front of many people, even though that she is still young.
What made her so unique is that she could embrace all the challenges and achieve a lot of things that even scientists couldn't at young age. The inspiration behind her passion towards the fight for climate change had an eye-opening impact to the whole world. That story about her consistently doing solitary protests sitting in front of the Swedish parliament, skipping school every Friday as a climate strike, the irony, her small movement had the whole world inspired, especially the teenagers. Around more than 20,000 students from UK to Japan had joined her into the movement by skipping school. Later on, she received her first of 3 Nobel Prize nominations for climate activism when she was only just 16. This is a whole nother level of competency. And here's another unforgettable moment of Greta.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you!
Thank you. That is all from us, the Budapest. We really appreciate your attention. Goodbye. Bijan Platashrah.